Do you ever feel less than engaged in your job? Do you wish your work had more meaning? Or perhaps you are seeking clarity regarding how to be more successful? If so, here's the great news. My research shows definitively that having a network of various types of mentors can help you feel more engaged, derive greater meaning, and absolutely enhance your success through a bigger paycheck and more rapid promotions. I am Ellen Ensher. I'm a business professor at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles and an expert in mentoring. I wrote the book Power Mentoring along with co-author Susan Murphy. In this course, I am so excited to share established strategies to help you connect with a network of mentors. You will learn how to research potential mentors and use a proven process to develop a mentoring relationship that lasts. I will share confidence-boosting strategies like courage rituals that will help you connect with a mentor and meet the challenges that mentors pose to you. I will provide you with ways to overcome common obstacles and how to build trust with mentors. Finally, I will discuss strategies for managing effective, diverse mentoring relationships. Mentoring matters. I have learned from my research and personal experience that mentoring can help you not just professionally, but also personally. I believe knowing how to connect with mentors is the most important life hack you can learn. So let's get started. Let's begin by reflecting. How do you define career success? What popped into your mind? Money, promotions, enjoying good relationships, feeling satisfied or making an impact? The good news is that definitive research shows that having a mentor can help you achieve all of these. So how can you actually be successful as a mentee? My research on mentoring has identified 5 characteristics of being a successful mentee. The first characteristic is trustworthiness. In the words of proteges and mentors I've interviewed in the past, as mentioned in my book, Power Mentoring, trust is about secret stuff, sacred stuff, and locker room bonding. It is about being vulnerable and real. I interviewed the former U.S. Treasurer Rosario Marin, and she articulated the idea that trust is built when you know enough about another person to inflict damage that you never do it. So let me put these ideas into behaviors. Consider using self-disclosure with your mentor and telling them something about you that is personal and might show that you are not perfect. In addition, when your mentor reciprocates, guard this information with your life. Second, successful mentees are confident. If you are concerned that you are not confident, let me reassure you that many successful people struggle with confidence. You don't need to be completely confident all the time about all aspects of your life. After all, many of us seek out mentors in order to boost our confidence. However, you do need to be confident in the sense that you believe you are worthy of being mentored. One way to boost your confidence is to consider your strengths and build your awareness about what you are good at. The Strengths Finder is a great tool for this. Third, successful mentees add value to their mentor's life. This might be simply sharing a skill with their mentor that the mentor is missing. For example, I have a protege who asked me to help her design a training exercise for her company. I said, let's brainstorm over happy hour if in exchange you can show me how I can impress my teenager with my Snapchat skills. The fourth important characteristic is appreciation. Take a moment and do this exercise. Think about all the roles you play in your life: employee, spouse, parent, sibling, daughter, son, lacrosse coach, and the list goes on. You do a lot. Now, raise your hand high if you feel like you get enough appreciation for all you do. When I ask people this question in workshops, for most of us, our hands are down here. So here's an easy secret to being a successful mentee. Show your mentor appreciation. Your mentor probably does not get enough appreciation, and this will really help to connect you. Here's a list of ways you can show appreciation. Nominate your mentor for an award. Bring your mentor a small gift or token you think they might like. Endorse them on LinkedIn. Write them a note saying you appreciate them. It really does not matter what you do, but do something and do it regularly. Finally, bring your positive energy to your mentor. Research by Stephanie Johnson shows that energy and emotions are contagious. One of my tests of whether a mentoring relationship is going to last is the energy test. I had a protege this past semester who was always scheduled last on my very long teaching day. Even though I was wiped out by the time I saw her, she always lifted me up with her fresh ideas, enthusiasm, or just by letting me vent. Because of her energy, this protege is a keeper for sure. Remember, being successful as a mentee is not about being perfect. It's about paying attention to these 5 characteristics that you can easily incorporate as you go forward in a relationship with a mentor. Think back to the last interview or professional event that went really well for you. Tap into that good feeling for a moment. Chances are the reason you performed so well is because you prepared well. Preparation is the key to most successful interactions, and it is especially true for mentoring. In this video, I will help you clarify what you want from a mentoring relationship by applying 3 techniques. The first step is to develop your self-awareness. One approach to build self-awareness is to conduct a 360-degree personal audit. This is my spin on the 360-degree performance appraisal. Often organizations have their managers complete a 360-degree performance appraisal in which they get evaluated from their subordinates, peers, bosses, and customers. This audit is about reflecting on how others see you in terms of strengths and weaknesses. For example, several semesters ago, I received feedback from my students that they wanted me to incorporate more technology into the classroom. So I got myself a technology curriculum mentor and made these changes. The second recommended technique is to write goals. Determine what your hopes, dreams, and goals are for the next 6 months to 5 years. Consider various areas of your life like academic, intellectual, health, social, professional, financial, spiritual, or anything else that speaks to you. Being able to get clear on how a mentor can help you meet your goals will lead you to the right mentor. For example, several years ago, I was a beach boot camp groupie. However, I kept injuring myself, and my doctor said to me, maybe you should try swimming instead. At that point, I could barely swim a lap, but I took swimming lessons and found a swim mentor. She inspires me so much, and who knows, next year, you might just see me out in the ocean with my mentor swimming in a peer-to-peer competition. I have included a goal-setting reflection in the exercise files. The third technique is to visualize your ideal mentor. Let me lead you through this exercise. Get cozy and comfortable and maybe even close your eyes. Take a breath and allow any images or thoughts to come into your mind. You may want to replay this several times. Think about, where does your ideal mentor work? What type of industry or organization? Think about connecting with your mentor. Is it over coffee, email, a networking event? How do you feel when you connect with your mentor? Imagine a typical conversation. In what ways does your mentor help you? What skills will you learn from your mentor? What new accomplishments will you have achieved as a result of this relationship? What does your ideal mentor look like? Any specific people come to mind? Now go ahead and write some notes down. If you got stuck or did not have an answer to these questions, don't worry. A lot of times the answers come in gradually through the day, or it gets clearer the more times you work through this exercise. Clarity is a process. If you keep taking action steps like these, it will become obvious who to approach for your mentor. I'm very excited to share with you how to connect with a mentor. Why? Because people with mentors reap important career benefits like pay, promotions, and greater overall career satisfaction. However, I am convinced that knowing how to connect with a mentor can be a life hack for personal success as well. Life continues to hand us new challenges that require us to shift identities and learn new skills. If you can assemble a new team of mentors when you have to learn something new, you can overcome challenges more easily. For example, a few years ago, I faced a critical and unexpected illness. I am absolutely certain that my ability to assemble a team of mentors was instrumental in me being able to quickly accept my new identity as a patient/warrior. My mentors gave me the support and skills I needed to navigate back to health. If mentoring is so great, how do you get one? Even if you already have a mentor, it is best if you have a network of different types of mentors. In this video, I will take you through 4 steps to connect with a mentor. First, know and believe in yourself. Before you connect with a mentor, you must know who you are and what you want from a mentor. You also need to know what you offer to a mentor and believe that you are worthy of having a mentor. I've provided an exercise file to help you get clear on what you offer to a mentor. There are 28 different types of benefits that mentors gain from the relationship. Here is a short highlight of items from that list. Expanded network for mentor, appreciation, enthusiasm, friendship, exposure to new ideas. Circle the top 3 items you believe that you can offer to a mentor. Believe that you have much to offer, even if it is just your sincere appreciation. Second, reflect on who to reach out to. Think about who you admire that you would like to connect with, or recall to mind your goals and what you want. Don't censor yourself as you reflect. It's true, you may not be able to get the top person at a company right away. However, maybe you can have one meeting with them and they can provide you with an introduction to someone who can become your mentor. Third, research potential mentors. This is important because when you contact your potential mentor, you want to show you've done your homework. So don't ask obvious questions like, where did you go to school? Or what is your job title? Instead, go deeper more quickly. Demonstrate your interest by saying something like, I noticed you did an internship in Malaysia. What was most challenging about working abroad? Fourth, connect courageously with mentors. A courage ritual is anything you do that pumps up your confidence before you do something challenging, like connecting with a mentor. It can be a physical gesture, like power poses, a song, a mantra, a prayer, poetry, or quotes. For example, I had a student who suffered a serious brain injury the summer before college. She recovered and after intensive therapy, made it to college a year later than planned. This is her courage ritual. She looks in the mirror and says, you are intelligent, driven, beautiful, kind, prepared. You are destined for success, no matter what they think of you. So what is your courage ritual? For more information on developing courage rituals, you can visit ellenensher.com. I have placed a few blog posts in the exercise files that explain how to do these. Life will always keep handing us growth opportunities. Assembling a team of mentors can help you navigate through these with greater ease, grace, and success. I have developed and taught an approach to researching mentors to thousands of business students and executives over the years. It is a modern and more methodical twist on the truism that everyone we want to know is 6 degrees of separation from us. I have seen many successful pairs develop by those using this approach. I'm excited to teach it to you now. I'm going to walk you through a real example about Liz, my former business student. Her career dream was to be a U.S. diplomat in France, and she was looking for mentors. I asked Liz to apply the 3 research steps. The first step I recommended to Liz and I recommend to you is to research the rock stars or the thought leaders in your organization, industry, or profession. Every profession has successful people that stand out. To identify your potential mentor, look for TED Talks, blog posts, books, and LinkedIn articles by people in your profession. Also, ask your network, who are the top people in your industry? In addition, look at who are the leaders in your professional organizations. For Liz, she found the list of top U.S. diplomats and ambassadors from her research. If you use multiple research approaches, you will likely find that a small group comes up consistently. This list of names becomes one of your target list of potential mentors. You may not have a direct connection to these top leaders immediately, but by accessing your primary and secondary network and using a warm connect, you may be able to connect with this person eventually. A warm connect is when someone you know introduces you to the person you want to know, either online or in person. Second step, I recommended to Liz and I also recommend to you. Determine who is already in your primary network. Your primary network consists of those people who already know and care about you. To stimulate your thinking, I suggest you take a look at your list of personal contacts. Write down a list of 20 to 30 people in your primary network who might be good mentors or might know someone they could introduce you to. Accessing your primary network is important for 2 reasons. First, there may be someone in your primary network list who would be a great mentor for you. And second, there may be someone from your primary network who could provide you with an introduction to someone in their network. Your primary network can provide you with a connection to members of their network, which can become part of your secondary network. I highly recommend that you use LinkedIn and search for alumni in your desired industry and profession and explore their secondary network. In Liz's case, she was happily surprised to find out how many LMU alums had worked in France and were even part of the Foreign Service. Third, I recommended to Liz to go deeper and explore her secondary network. She did so during my class, and surprisingly for all of us, sitting across from Liz was the roommate to the son of the U.S. ambassador to France. Next, Liz used the power of a warm connect to be introduced to her classmates' roommate's dad. Remember, reaching out to a potential mentor via a cold connect can work. However, if you take the time to find a warm connect, your chances of meeting the mentor of your dreams increases tremendously. You may not get as lucky as Liz right off the bat, but stick with it, and this process will work for you. Would you ask someone you had never met to marry you on a first date? Probably not, as getting married is a big commitment and something to work up to for most people. The same holds true for mentoring. I recommend that you reach out to a potential mentor and do a small ask first, such as requesting an informational interview. An informational interview gathers information about a person and their career. It's never about requesting a job, although if you build rapport with your interviewee, they might volunteer to open some doors or become a mentor to you. What's the first step to make an informational interview successful and then turn it into a mentoring relationship? First, prepare. To make an informational interview successful, you must be prepared. Anyone can Google informational interview questions and come to the interview with a generic list. I suggest you start with a generic list and then personalize the questions. It is crucial that you formulate your questions so that you show you have done your background research and are sincerely interested. For example, instead of asking a movie director, what is your typical day like? Say something like, according to Hollywood Reporter, you spent 80% of your time in meetings trying to get money and the creative process happens last minute. Is this a typical experience and day for you? Second, respect your interviewee's time. A typical informational interview is 20 to 30 minutes. If you want to extend the conversation, check in. Say something like, I'm really enjoying our time together and would love to continue, but I want to be respectful of your time. I know I'd asked for 20 minutes. Do we need to stop now, or is it okay to continue? Third, communicate your desire to reciprocate. One of the best experiences I ever had with a potential protege who conducted an informational interview with me only took 15 minutes on the phone. He said to me, I want to ask you 3 questions in 15 minutes about your work. 2 of the questions were very specific about my research, which showed his interest and preparation. His 3rd question was, how can I be helpful to you? Wow. When this potential protege asked me how he could help me, I was impressed. He was the first who had ever seen our relationship as mutually beneficial from day one. I will take his call anytime. Fourth, turn the interview into a mentoring relationship. How do you turn this one-time interview into a long-term mentoring relationship? Begin by expressing your appreciation for the interview. Then ask the potential mentor if it's okay to stay connected or to meet again. There are many ways to stay connected. For example, you can follow up with a thank you note. Also, you can write an endorsement on LinkedIn to publicly acknowledge your potential mentor. Other ways to stay connected are to send articles about their interests and current events to your potential mentor. Take the initiative to plan your next meeting. An informational interview is a small ask and a terrific way to open the door to a possible mentor. For more information on how to do informational interviews, I've placed a guide in the exercise files. Use it. And these steps to conduct a successful informational interview and lock in a great mentor that's right for you. Many proteges fear approaching potential mentors because they worry they are bothering them or wasting their time. I want you to try to let go of that fear. My research has found that people who serve as mentors are overall more successful than those who do not serve as mentors. I'm going to share tips to help you approach a potential mentor with confidence and grace. To begin, consider the best way to reach out to a mentor and specifically what to say. Here is a poor example of a real email I received from a potential protege. Hey, Ellen, I decided to contact you to seek as much advice, info, help, energy from you that I can possibly get. I would like to pick your brain in the next few days. I've come to a point in my life where I want to transition as I'm sick of the 9-to-5 grind. I'm only 28 and I've spent a good part of my life incarcerated, so I'm not sure of my next step. Can you please mentor me? Thank you, Jack. Let's deconstruct how this could be more effective. First, avoid using informal language. Never start a professional email with, "Hey." Instead, use the proper form of address. If you don't know what someone likes to be called, then err on the side of formality. For example, it's always safe to address a woman as Ms. and a man as Mr. Second, be specific when contacting a potential mentor. Say something like, "I'm contacting you to learn how to break into human resources." Third, communicate that you want to give and not just take. Avoid saying, "pick your brain." This phrase feels like you're interested in taking and not giving. Instead, say something like, "I'm hoping to share ideas." Fourth, use self-disclosure gradually. In this example, Jack shared that he had been incarcerated. This is tricky. While I applaud his honesty, since we didn't know each other, I would recommend not sharing something as personal as this right away. Fifth, ask for a short meeting as a way to connect with a potential mentor. In this email, I was directly asked, "Will you mentor me?" It would have been better to have asked, "Can we meet for 20 minutes so I can learn from your background?" After you get to know each other and the relationship develops, then you can ask directly about becoming your mentor. Now I want to share a good example of reaching out to a potential mentor. Dear Professor Ensher, I'm reaching out to you as I attend the same church with your colleague Stacy, and she recommended I connect with you. I would like to talk to you as your research in diversity and mentoring is very similar to what I'm interested in. I would love to share ideas about my graduate work in diversity. Would it be possible to meet over coffee or schedule a short phone appointment? Thank you so much, Diane. I had a really positive feel for Diane, who applied all 5 ways of being effective, and we did get together for coffee. Remember, when you reach out to a mentor, be like Diane and be polite, specific, and reciprocal. Congratulations on scheduling your first meeting with your mentor. The most successful mentoring relationships are those in which proteges take initiative and prepare for each meeting. I'm going to guide you through a successful first meeting by highlighting my Relationship Development Plan, RDP, which you can find in the exercise files. First, get to know each other and look for similarities. Research shows that the best way to fast-track your rapport with your mentor is to determine ways you are similar to each other. Here are a sample of tools available in the RDP that will help you connect with one another. I recommend that you both take standardized instruments and share results. A standardized instrument is a questionnaire that has been validated and measures characteristics like personality or style, such as the Myers-Briggs. Consider taking my favorite, StrengthsFinder, and then comparing your core strengths with one another. Consider discussing your work style, quirks, and pet peeves. For example, years ago, I worked for a boss named Rick, whose performance was good, but work style was moody and volatile. Rick got feedback from his mentor about the impact of his volatility on our team, so Rick installed a traffic light in his office. If his light was green, it meant come on in, and red meant run for the hills. It sounds silly, but it helped us all so much. The idea here is to make your communication style, mood, and expectations transparent. Be aware and communicate your work style. This will have a positive impact on the relationship you build with your mentor. Second, notice and appreciate your differences. Noticing your differences with your mentor is important, as this will help you determine what your complementary knowledge, skills, and abilities are. Finding similarities helps you bond. Determining your differences helps you grow. Use the RDP to become aware of your differences and how you can learn from each other. Key areas to consider are work style, personality strengths, values, goals, interests, backgrounds. Third, determine your goals for yourself and your mentoring relationship. I encourage you to share your career goals with your mentor and create a plan for how to accomplish them. Also, consider creating some goals for the mentoring relationship itself. I highly recommend that you and your mentor work on an action research project together. An action research project is a project chosen by both of you that has a specific deliverable. For example, I worked with a mentoring program for civil engineers. The engineering mentor-protege pair wrote a plan together to help communities understand water conservation. This project gave them something concrete to work on, and it was a great way to learn from each other. Fourth, determine logistics and communication. Consider discussing these questions. How do we feel about connecting and communicating on various forms of social media? How often will we meet? How will we make future plans and adjustments to meeting times? Be sure to set your next meeting with your mentor before you conclude the meeting, and always follow up and express your appreciation. It might seem like there is a lot to remember about your first meeting with your mentor, but if you use the RDP to prepare, your first meeting will be a smash hit. Can you think of a time at work when someone earned your trust or when someone betrayed your trust? Trust is the foundation of most effective relationships. This is especially true for mentoring. Trust is defined as being truthful, consistent, and transparent. Let's look at 5 ways to build trust with your mentor. First, assess the trust in your relationship with your mentor. To help you reflect on the trust you have with your mentor, I have developed a mentoring trust assessment tool. This tool is available in the exercise files. Here are a few questions from the tool for you to consider. Do I communicate honestly with my mentor? Do my actions match my words when I'm working with my mentor? Do I share personal stories with my mentor? Second, build trust by taking a risk and self-disclosing. For example, recently I had a protege who had been mentoring all year long. Our relationship had gone from great to awful in just a few months. She was not returning emails and was canceling meetings. When I finally did meet with her, I was annoyed, but I asked her what was going on. I was shocked when she shared that she was a cancer survivor and she had been unavailable because she had experienced a reoccurrence scare and had been coping with that. At this point, I had a choice. I could choose to express my sympathy and pivot the conversation back to career topics, or I could match my protege's level of disclosure and go deeper, which is what I did. I shared with her that I too was a cancer survivor. This defining moment in our relationship, initiated by my protege self-disclosing, really accelerated our mutual trust in each other. Third, keep secrets sacred and be your mentor's best advocate. The more comfortable your mentor becomes with you, the more your mentor will share. Research by scholars, including Eby and Skandura, investigating toxic mentoring relationships, demonstrates conclusively that failing to keep your mentor's confidences private is one of the most damaging acts you can perform. Also, whenever you have the opportunity, act as an advocate and agent for your mentor. Writing an endorsement on LinkedIn is a great way to do this. always share your mentor's accomplishments, not their secrets. Fourth, be a truth teller to your mentor. In my research, I spoke with a general who talked about how his protege built trust by serving as a truth teller to him. He said as a leader, he was surrounded by people who praised and agreed with him. He said truth was a scarce commodity. The general's protege became one of the few people in his network that would tell him the critical feedback he needed to hear. Fifth, set and communicate boundaries. As a protege, you need to decide what are your boundaries with your mentor. For example, several years ago, I was the mentee of someone who was going through a difficult divorce. I felt very uncomfortable when he shared his marital woes, and I told him that. My mentor was embarrassed, but really respected that I communicated my boundaries. As we get closer to people, it's natural that our boundaries get tested. So just listen to your gut and speak up to your mentor if this happens. Trust is the foundation for successful mentoring relationships. The most important idea here is that if you want to build trust with your mentor, you must be trustworthy. Research by scholars Murphy and Cram in their book, Strategic Relationships at Work, shows that at least 1 in 5 mentoring relationships experience obstacles, so challenges are a normal part of any mentoring relationship. In this video, we will discuss the 4 most common obstacles and tips to overcome them. First, determine your mentor's expectations. I have found in my research that many times mentors do have specific expectations for proteges. The following is an example of a very direct expectation set by Hilda, a mentor who is an experienced politician, for Sharon, her protege, who is an aspiring politician. Because fundraising skills are so crucial in politics, Hilda told Sharon that she needed to demonstrate her competence in fundraising before their next meeting. She challenged Sharon to raise $10,000 and shared details for how to raise money successfully. Sharon raised the full amount and gained confidence in this important skill. She also earned the respect of Hilda, and their relationship deepened. However, sometimes your mentor does not tell you directly what they expect. Often it is up to you as the protege to ask about your mentor's expectations. So ask your mentor directly. What are your expectations or hopes or wishes for this relationship? What is your recommendation for my next steps before we meet again? Keep asking these questions and check in regularly as expectations do change over time. Second, take initiative and follow up on your mentor's suggestions. For example, one mentor spoke of challenging your protege to create a legal defense. On their next meeting, they critiqued her work together. In my research, I have found that proteges who take their mentor's suggestions and follow through reap many positive benefits from mentoring. Third, manage a missing mentor. One of the biggest challenges I hear about from proteges is they're not sure what to do when their mentor starts responding to them. For many of us, when a mentor goes missing, we assume the worst. Instead, try assuming the opposite. Say to yourself, this is not about me. The mentor is probably busy and my message was just buried in the daily avalanche of email. Don't berate your mentor. Instead, elevate your communication to a richer format. If you've been emailing, call your mentor. Start the conversation by checking in to make sure your mentor is okay. Say something like, I've not heard from you and I'm checking in. When things slow down, could we schedule a quick phone call? Show you care without being a stalker. Fourth, make time to meet with your mentor. My mentor used to tell me his time with me was like a blank check, and it was my job to cash it. Hands down, the biggest obstacle to mentoring from both mentors and proteges is time. As the protege, you initiate meetings and keep the relationship on track. Let your mentor know you're willing to integrate your meetings into what they are already doing. For example, I had a client that was an hour drive away from me. My protege offered to ride along with me so we could maximize my available time. Just by being aware that these obstacles exist can help you. Navigating through an obstacle can be a good challenge, as it can make your relationship with your mentor even better. Lack of confidence is the Achilles heel for many proteges. I have seen mentees wanting so much to succeed, but lacking confidence, not only in their interactions with their mentor, but also in the stretch assignments their mentors give them. In this video, we will review several techniques that will build your confidence in general to help you be your best self as a protege. Before we talk about the techniques, I want to introduce you to my protege, Emily, who is a budding entrepreneur. Emily had the opportunity to meet with some venture capitalists for funding. As her mentor, I gave her the assignment to put together a pitch. She shared with me that she was so anxious about the pitch presentation, she was thinking about not pursuing her business. So I suggested she use several confidence-boosting tools. The first technique to try before you do something challenging are positive affirmations. An affirmation is defined as a positive phrase that you repeat to yourself, which describes how you want to be. Research cited in a 2016 Wall Street Journal article demonstrates that affirmations can change habits and boost confidence. An affirmation is like a pep talk you give yourself. Sometimes we need to give ourselves a pep talk before meeting with a mentor or before following up on a mentor's recommendations that you find challenging. With Emily, I asked her to do the following exercise to create affirmations for her upcoming pitch. I asked Emily to write down 30 statements that began with the phrase, I am. For Emily, she came up with statements like, I am confident, I am enjoying this pitch, I am prepared and it shows, I am authentic, and so on. Now you try this exercise. Set your timer for 5 to 8 minutes. Don't judge or censor yourself. Remember, the purpose of this exercise is to come up with statements that positively reflect how you want to feel. Think of something specific, like an upcoming meeting with your mentor or a challenge that your mentor has assigned to you. Your goal is to write down 30 positive statements about how you would like to feel and behave. Begin with the phrase, I am. Ready? Pause the video and take 5 to 8 minutes. Welcome back. Take a look at what you wrote down. Is there one phrase that really resonates? Make this phrase your mantra that you say to yourself when negative thoughts come into your mind about your upcoming challenges. For Emily, she found it helpful to say to herself, I am owning this pitch. The second confidence-boosting tool is using mental imagery or visualization. Mental imagery is a cognitive tool that enables you to imagine yourself having a desired experience or be in a desired state of being. The idea is to have a mental image of success and to rehearse it. Emily found this to be very helpful. She imagined in very rich detail what she was wearing to her pitch and the setting. She also visualized the audience reaction and how she was feeling during and after the presentation. She did this every day before her pitch. Here's an exercise for you to try using mental imagery. Close your eyes. Imagine the challenge that you are facing. What will you wear? How will you feel? Now imagine yourself feeling peaceful and confident. Imagine the challenge going very well. Imagine telling someone how well the challenge went after it was all over. Now imagine you're celebrating. Allow yourself to feel really good. Repeat this every day, and you will see a big difference in your confidence level. Finally, another idea to boost your confidence is to develop your own personal courage ritual. A courage ritual can be something you do physically that gets you pumped up mentally. It could be a physical gesture, or belting out a song, reciting poetry, or just calling your mom for encouragement. For more ideas on courage rituals, I have included resources for you in the exercise files. In the end, I'm happy to report Emily did nail her pitch, and it was a triumph for both of us. It is part of a mentor's job to present you with challenges and stretch opportunities. Affirmations and mental imagery can help you make your mentor proud. When we talk about cross-gender mentoring, I know it can sometimes feel like we are navigating a minefield because we worry we might say the wrong thing or inadvertently cause offense. However, my mentoring research shows definitively that for both men and women, it is helpful to have a network of different types of people that includes gender variety. In this video, I will offer guidance to make your cross-gender relationships work well. First, acknowledge to yourself and to your mentor that gender differences matter, both in the relationship and others' perceptions. For example, several years ago, I gave a presentation to a group of top executives, most of whom were men. In this presentation, I mentioned the importance of cross-gender mentoring relationships. One of the executives raised his hand and said, "Ellen, there is no way I will mentor a woman because my other employees will think something is going on and my wife will kick my bum." Although I wish we lived in a world where this feeling was a joke, I had to acknowledge his willingness to be honest. He said out loud something that many others were likely thinking. This kind of statement shows that other people's perceptions regarding the professionalism of your relationship do matter. So accept that perceptions are a fact and manage them accordingly. Choose your mentoring activities carefully and perhaps differently with cross-gender relationships. You determine what your boundaries are and what you are comfortable with. Here's a quick reflection exercise. Take a moment and think of your current mentors. What are some activities that you could do with them that feels comfortable? Notice if there are differences due to gender. Second, take the lead in setting the tone of the conversation. As the protege, you set the tone for the conversation. Take small risks and build up. Develop your own set of rapport-building conversational topics that have broad applicability and are relatively neutral. For me, my conversational go-to topics center around travel and restaurants. Take a moment now and think about what are your conversational go-tos. Third, address discomfort around gender if it arises. Sometimes if you are not comfortable, you just need to address it. For example, I had a mentor who took me to a dark romantic restaurant, which felt a little uncomfortable to me. For our next meeting, when the mentor suggested dinner again, I said something like this: "I would love to go to dinner again, but how about this time I pick the restaurant?" This might have been a little indirect, but it was a way to communicate without embarrassing the mentor. After that, I always pick the restaurant. Fourth, stay attuned to managing the impressions online and in person. For example, one male CEO I know who does mentor a lot of men and women always invites his proteges to meet his wife and family. Finally, be your best professional self on social media. Think carefully about where you want to meet online. For example, I share a lot of funny stories about my son on Facebook. My mentor was my Facebook friend. I realized that being Facebook friends was a mistake. I felt that every conversation we had was all about mom stuff and not about where I wanted to go professionally. At that point, I decided I needed to keep my Facebook life separate from my professional life. By and large, most cross-gender relationships are perfectly professional. But remember, managing other people's impressions is just as important as what happens in the actual relationship. Diverse mentoring refers to mentoring relationships where mentors and proteges are members of different demographic groups, such as race, gender, age, sexual orientation, and so on. I am happy to share 5 tips with you to make your diverse mentoring relationships successful. The first strategy is to discover and build on your similarities with one another. My 20 years of research into diverse mentoring offers this common sense advice. When working in a diverse mentoring relationship, if you get to know each other more deeply, more quickly, the surface demographic differences will matter far less. One great way to get to know each other is to discuss values. I have provided a list of values in the exercise file. Choose 5 values that are most important to you and discuss them with your mentor. I did this exercise recently with my new protege that was assigned to me. This protege is a 20-year-old Hispanic male, so different from me in 3 demographic ways in respect to gender, ethnicity, and generation. We did this values exercise and found that we have a shared value of social justice. So this gave us something to build on right away. The second strategy is to acknowledge how your differences impact your life. Demographic differences are real, and they impact how we live in this world and are viewed by society every single day. For example, a good reminder of this comes from the Museum of Tolerance in Los Angeles. When you enter the museum, there are 2 doors. One is marked prejudiced, and the other is marked unprejudiced. If you try to enter through the door marked unprejudiced, the door is locked. Why? The idea here is that in order for you to enter into a place of tolerance, you must acknowledge your own prejudices. So in a diverse mentoring relationship, you need to respect that your mentor's experiences based on their demographic identity may be quite different from your own. The third strategy is to ask for feedback. There's compelling research from Dave Thomas showing that sometimes in diverse mentoring situations, the mentor of one race or gender is often reluctant to give critical feedback to the mentee of a different race or gender. This tendency is called protective hesitation. It comes from the place of fear of saying the wrong thing, causing an adverse reaction. As a protege, you need to ask for critical feedback. And when you get the feedback, be sure to practice seeing the feedback as the gift it is and respond non-defensively. The fourth strategy is to speak up and check in with each other. If there is something that comes up related to your membership in a different identity group, bring it up. You can always start the conversation with saying something like, I feel awkward bringing this up, and I'm afraid I might offend you. When you are honest and use this conversational opener, it really helps to decrease the defensiveness. The final strategy is use humor gracefully. For example, I have a mentor who's an older male. We have developed a humorous catchphrase we use with each other when our perspectives vary due to gender. There's a story behind this, but our catchphrase is, "Don't worry your pretty little head about it." Whenever one of us feels that the other is being a little insensitive, we use our catchphrase to communicate humorously. It's a great way to open a conversation about diversity that keeps us both authentic and smiling. Remember, your diverse mentoring relationships can help you to learn and be more successful, not just at work, but personally as well. So be yourself by all means in your mentoring relationship and be willing to teach and learn from each other. I have 3 final ideas to help you in your mentoring journey. First, in addition to cultivating a network of mentors for yourself, start being a mentor for other people now. You are never too young or old to do this. For example, my middle schooler son mentors a 5th grader, who in turn mentors a kindergartner. The best way we learn something is to teach others. So if you serve as a mentor, I promise you will learn a lot about how to be a successful mentee. Second, be sure to express your gratitude to your mentors often. Make your expression of gratitude personal and authentic. For example, recently I had a protege give me a book about Finland as she knew I was heading there on a grant. I think most people also really appreciate a public acknowledgement of their effort, such as an endorsement on LinkedIn. Finally, develop a team of mentors, not just for your professional life, but for your personal life too. The only guarantee in life is that there will be constant change and upheaval. Life will continue to hand us challenges, force us to take on new identities, learn new skills, and require us to make important decisions, both professionally and personally. Our personal and professional selves make up our whole selves. Knowing how to connect with mentors when you're required to learn a new set of skills, whether professional or personal, will help you navigate through your challenges more easily and gracefully. To keep learning about mentoring, you are welcome to visit my website, ellenensher.com, where I have a TEDx talk, blog posts, a link to my book, and academic articles. There are lots of resources to help you continue to learn about mentoring. I'm grateful to you for watching, and I wish you the best of luck in your mentoring journey.